my point was, you learn a trade in there, and it may be the wrong trade. That's what I'm trying to say. Or you get a habit, a drug habit. This is something. There's no way around this, is there? I mean, it's just relieves the boredom as well.
The job of the prison service is hugely complicated. We are picking up the people in the prison service who the rest of society wants rid of. They're a nuisance. They've, pinched my stuff. They've hurt somebody, whatever it happens to be. We're expected then to do something with them. And it's perfectly possible to do things with people and to ensure that quite a high proportion will come out and make their contribution to society.
Do they?
Oh yes, we've got...
What's the percentage then?
We've got evidence that if you do the right things, you actually get the results. The trouble is, because of overcrowding, because the politicians have always taken the simple way out, the easy way out, which is to say, if something's wrong, we'll make it a crime and we'll send people to prison who break the law. Often there are problems that need other sorts of solutions. Let me give you an example. There was an occasion when the police in a suburb of Liverpool were having huge difficulty with damage to the police cars. And what was happening was there were gangs of kids roaming around. When the police cars came on, they chucked rocks at them. All sorts of things were tried to get rid of them. But the real answer was, cooperating with the local authority, somebody got the bright idea of picking up the rocks. If there were no rocks to throw at the police cars, the damage didn't occur.
Right.
Now there's a lesson there about prevention and all the rest of it. There's lessons, yes, we've got to be firm and strict with all sorts of things, but we've also got to dig away at the causes of crime.
Just to finish, where are we up to now? When you look back at your time and your reforms, and now you see what's going on, not just here, obviously, but in the UK, have they gone in the right direction? Have they gone far enough? Well, too far?
The reforms never really got underway because after Lord Wolfe's report in 1990, within 3 years, we had a new Home Secretary, Michael Howard, who said prison works. Rubbish, it doesn't work at all. But the result of that was that the two main political parties spent an awful lot of time trying to be tough on crime, or sounding tough on crime, for electoral reasons, I'm sure. And the prison population rose from, it was in the 40,000s when all this started, to the 80,000 it is now. And I fear it will go up again if we do not grasp that the use of imprisonment has got to be much more sparing. Now, that's in a whole number of ways. You can do it by reducing lengths of sentences. You can do it by making sure you don't send people to prison who shouldn't be there. I mean, why have we got so many mentally ill prisoners in prison? I mean, simply because we haven't made other provision for them. I mean, a lot of these things, when you get to know the prisoners, it's a disgrace that we are not doing more, but it's a disgrace because, in a sense, the public are hurting themselves because these people come out, they're not no better. In some cases, you quite rightly have indicated, they're worse. And if people go to prison, there should be a duty laid on the prison service to do what they can to reform them. We won't reform everybody, but we can reform some.
Quick thing, smoking or in prison and phones.
Yeah.
There's these two hot subjects, yes or no?
What about it?
Smoking?
Well, smoking, I mean, this is a personal preference.
Yeah.
I'm all against smoking. It's a health hazard and all the rest of it. Just a minute. I have some experience of it too,
right.
Because at Risley we were busy reducing areas where people could smoke. I mean, some of the early work on bringing in a smoking ban was done in the early 90s when we started preventing prisoners from smoking in visits. Because what was happening was, often in awful visits rooms, certainly that was the case at Strangeways, you would have low ceilings, very crowded, and you'd have prisoners smoking like fury and their visitors smoking like fury, and they'd have kids with them. I mean, it was awful. Now, at Risley, we managed to move them gradually away from that. We devised all sorts of methods for dealing with the heavy smokers, but we actually got almost smoke-free visit rooms. So it can be done, but it's hard work, and you've got to keep at it.
And now we're moving to e-cigarettes.
I haven't got a view on that.
No view.
I haven't
But
got a view.
it's a currency, though, isn't it? At the end of the day,
Yeah.
smoking's a currency.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
but there'll always be currencies in prison.
Yeah, but
and you see where the rackets and all the problems come from is because the prisoners are bored. And if you've got prisoners engaged in improving themselves in a whole variety of ways, whether it's learning how to paint or be a carpenter or run a computer or word processing or whatever it happens to be, these prisoners can get really involved in that, and they develop and change and improve. They won't all change and improve, but quite a lot will.
phones. It's been experimented, isn't it?
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have allowing them to have phones now, because they're always there. I mean, and how do they get in?
Yeah.
No doubt through ways they shouldn't be getting in, but you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's huge problems about how you keep a secure area in a prison because of the devices that people have used. As we all know, we went through a phase where they seem to be running drugs in by drone, for example, which, you know, in my time, we hadn't even thought that would be possible. But those sort of problems are best addressed by changing the ethos of the prison to focusing on what can we do to stop these people reoffending when they get out. And if we've got that right, we'll make some progress. Now, there's lots of evidence, for example, that if you send out prisoners homeless compared with sending them out to somewhere where they've got a home, that will hugely increase their chances of success. Similarly, give them a job as opposed to sending them out with nothing, much increases their chances of success. These are not sort of highfalutin things. These are common sense. Most people that you talk to in the street say, well, yeah, why not? Sounds sensible. But we don't do it.
Fascinating. We could talk all day. Listen, this book, it looks like, I'm going to hold just next to your face again, look at that. You haven't changed much in all that time. Prison Governor's Journal, Brenda O'Friel, available for all good book shops right now. But what reason I want to talk as well, finish this with, is you've got an event coming up at the Manx Museum.
Yeah, let's just talk about the way people can get the book.
Yes.
It's actually in all the Manx bookshops.
Oh, okay.
Because the book has been written in the island. It's been, the artwork's been done in the island. The proofreading's been done in the island. It's printed in the island. Oh, okay. So it's a complete island project. We're now going to launch it on the island. And of course, we are also making strenuous attempts to ensure that people across know all about it, because there's a huge amount in there that they'll be interested in. So, you know, we're looking to our audience really to make sure other people know about it. And we've got a very good website, prisongovernorjournal.com.
Oh, lovely.
And if people go on that, they'll find out how to get it. And purchasing the book is not on Amazon. It's not in your local bookstore across. It's all through Lexicon or Manx National Heritage.
Well, I saw the Lexicon bookshop.
Yeah, that's right.
Very good. So you're keeping very Manx there.
We're keeping it very Manx.
Right.
But it will only work if people, in fact, encourage people they know across, where they can get it.
Okay, well, we'll put that fantastic URL on the screen. This speech, this chat, this lecture.
The launch.
Oh,
the launch. What happened was that Manx National Heritage very kindly invited me to give a talk around the book, and that I'm going to do on Saturday at the Manx Museum at 2:00, and that we're also doing a Zoom option so that my old colleagues across can see what I'm up to.
They may have a few words to say to you.
They may have a few words to say to me, but we're hoping to have a decent crowd in at the Manx Museum.
What time is it on?
2:00,
right.
And then I don't intend to go on for very long. We'll have a bit of discussion, and then anybody who wants, I'm prepared to sign books for. So, you know, it'll be a different afternoon, and I'm sure it'll be the first time that the Manx Museum's had anything to do with prisons.
But maybe not the last, we know. Brenda O'Friel, once more, the Prison Governor's Journal, not available from all bookshops, but from certain bookshops at the moment, at the time of recording now. And I wish you well. I hope it sounds fascinating, and I'm sure it'll be a bestseller.
Well, we hope so.